Welcome to A Look Behind the Curtain with Chris, episode 5. The purpose of this YouTube channel and podcast is to answer the two main questions I keep getting, which are, is this real? And are people having success with it? It's also to kind of share some success stories with you and give you techniques and tools to use in your life and business to help you get to the next level. Today, I have the honor of having an individual with me who is a 10-year veteran in the online internet marketing industry. He is an entrepreneur, a speaker, an author, and a coach who has generated over $4 million in revenue and whose clients have generated over 8 figures. He is also the founder of Adam Holland Marketing Inc. He's a founder of lead generation company, Guaranteed Prospects, and has done over a dozen of his own courses, ebooks, and programs. He currently resides here in Arizona and is known as the AWOL Academy Director of Memes. So without further ado, I have the great privilege and honor to have with me today, Adam Holland. So Adam, I just want to start this off with a brief history of who you are. So if you want to take it away, go for it.
Awesome, man. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited for this. I always have fun on doing interviews and just instilling some hope and belief into people that are watching this because with my history, man, I want to preface this with you got me at the perfect time. I'm back from the gym, and I think the pre-workout is still in my veins. So I'm going to try not to speak at 300 miles an hour. I'm going to do my best, but man, I'm super fired up here. So basically, like I was saying, just instilling belief in people. I got started online a little over 10 years ago. It'll be 11 years this November. And I started to make a little bit of money online. I still wasn't sure if this was a real thing. And then, bam, I got laid off from my job in February of 2008, February 2008. And instead of I was hoping to make some side income, it was I have to make a full-time income and actually pay my bills. And it was frightening. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had made a few $1,000s, actually $4,000 or $5,000 in the first several months that I was online because I was promoting what's called a high ticket opportunity. But at the same time, it's just I was instead of building up my savings and having a nest egg to then leave my job, it was wow, my safety net is gone. It's do or die. It's, I had to make it work. So basically what ended up happening was I tried to find another job. In 2008, the recession was in full swing and finding another job was near damn, impossible. I ended up finding a job working for Owens Corning, selling sunrooms in their basement systems. And if you think people in 2008 were putting on a $40,000 sunroom or a $15,000 basement addition in their home, they were not. So that was very, very, very part-time. I think I made $12,000 that entire year. I mean, I would have made more money at McDonald's, I think, working there. But here's the thing. Here's the silver lining. It was very few hours. I maybe had to work 5, maybe 10 hours a week to be able to generate that income because it was selling something really expensive and it was only commission. So if I didn't sell anything, it was a waste of time, a waste of money and everything. So I got a little bit better at sales. I was able to pocket a little bit of money, but it freed up my time to say, you know what, if I'm going to make ends meet, I have to make this internet marketing thing work. So, and just to kind of go back even a little further in time, I wanted to mention, I have an engineering background, really super analytical, almost to where it's a fault, where I overanalyze stuff and I hold myself back. That had to I was no longer a perfectionist. It wasn't about making things perfect. It was no, I need to make some money. And even if my ad isn't perfect, even if my emails have poor grammar, I need to send an email out today or else I'm not going to have an income to support my family. So if there's any lesson to be learned here, any first message that I have, it's don't wait until you're at rock bottom to get this started. Do things now while the economy is going well, while you don't need it, so that when you do need it, you've already got that side income of $10,000 a month, or whatever it is that, your goal is. So that's how I got started online about 10 years ago. And since then I've done affiliate marketing. I've created my own products and courses. I've had now a marketing agency, about to start a sister company to that agency with a business partner of mine. lots of awesome projects going on. I'll say that. I'll say that much.
Yeah, dude. You're always constantly doing something, crushing it. I love it. You're extremely motivated and you're inspiring to this whole community. So thank you for coming out again. Appreciate it. And thank you for sharing a bit of your story. So really the first question I'd like to ask you is, when you first got started online, what were some of the big roadblocks you ran into and how did you overcome them?
That's a good one. So even though I said I had all this wonderful free time to spend on my business, I had no money. I was very, very desperate. So one of the biggest roadblocks was, well, it takes money to make money, right? Well, instead of being able to outsource stuff that I didn't know how to do or didn't care to learn, I had to kind of suck it up and learn it anyway. Which again, there's positive and negative to everything. It was great because it allowed me to learn skill sets I wouldn't have ever learned before. Like we didn't have ClickFunnels or lead pages. We had WordPress, but even then, like building a website, like I think I was installing WordPress manually. So I had to like create a database, like all this crap where it's like, now it's a one-click install, on your website, WordPress, click, done. It's installed, that kind of thing. So I had to learn a little bit of PHP and HTML, building out some websites and all this like code stuff. I'm like, I don't care about that stuff. I didn't care to learn any of that. So so there's a lot of roadblocks that came into, man, I don't know how to do any of this, but instead of trying to say, I don't have the resources, I had to be resourceful and come up with those resources or put in additional time. So even though I wasn't working full time and I had that time, it was basically the equivalent of working, like a 8 or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., taking a little break, with the family or whatever. And then just like everybody here, doing that 6 p.m. to, or 7 p.m. to midnight or 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I mean, I remember working 12-hour days or whatever. So I was like, I saw your boy at the restaurant last week. I'm like, did he recognize my voice?
He always wants to run in and see who's on the video. He likes to sit there, even when it's just a video. He sits there and waves like they're gonna say hi back.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like the biggest piece of advice I have for people is a lot of people when they're getting started, they're only looking at what they don't know, the experience they don't have, the people that aren't yet in their Rolodex. And instead, it really needs to be like, no, how can I be resourceful with what I know? Because there's lots of people that have amazing experiences. Like you had an auto glass business before. You had actually business experience before coming online. There's a way to leverage that. There's people that are car mechanics that understand how different pieces go together. Well, it's a very similar metaphor for like putting a funnel together. So how can I explain to a mechanic in terms of like how a car goes together, how this funnel goes together? You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't matter what your background is, teaching, engineering, whatever it is. It's like you can take the things that you're learning, that you've learned in those careers and apply them to your business online.
Awesome. Yeah, there was two things that you said in there that were really resonated with me. The first one was, you didn't have any resources, so you became resourceful. And resourcefulness, in my opinion, is one of the greatest resources. Being able to not just sit there and dwell on the problem, but figure out the solution. Do what it takes to make it happen. Whether it's paying for a mentor or reading a book, whatever it may be, to get that information so you can keep moving forward, not just letting yourself being stumped. I mean, that resourcefulness right there is huge for why people become successful. Because they're resourceful. They don't rely on just the resources that they currently have. They constantly look for more. So that's really cool.
Yeah. One thing real quick too is a mentor of mine kind of told a story about how he was on the phone trying to close a sale. And I think the sale was $3,000 or whatever. The guy was trying to close him on $3,000. And the guy he wanted to buy, the prospect he was on the phone with, kept saying like, oh, well, I don't have the money. And he said, well, if you did have the money, where would you have gotten it from? And the guy stops and thinks for a minute. And he goes, I guess I could ask my dad. And it's just like, we're so busy trying to think of the reasons why we can't, why we shouldn't, what we don't have, instead of like, well, how can I get what I want to have? How can I actually go and get that goal? And how can I be creative in finding those solutions? So it's just stopping and thinking about like, well, what if like, I don't have the money right now, but if I did, it's like, And this isn't something that I did before, but like I did, I hate when people do those like Facebook videos where they're like, yo, I'm flashing cash. And, you know, it's just like, you know, make money kind of stuff and it's all hype or whatever. So I started making a bunch of parody videos. So I took out $5,000 cash. I don't know if you saw the videos. They're hysterical.
Yeah, they were hysterical.
Yeah. So I'm just like being just an ass on purpose. So I never went to the bank to go put that $5,000 back. So I still have $5,000 in actual real cash sitting on my desk, and I'm not flashing that to be funny. I actually realize now that like the reason that people look at that is because tangibly, like it's one thing to have it in your bank account. It's another thing to just have it sitting, you know, as just like a freaking paperweight on your desk. You know what I mean? So like I actually keep that on my desk, and I look at it every day, and I don't look at it as money. I look at it as another resource of like, well, if I had to make $5,000 today, or else I was going to lose like my car, access to my children, like make it really emotional. It's like, all right, what do I have to get done in my business today? And like, that's how I really motivate myself to be resourceful and to figure out creative solutions to problems, because like, it's not necessarily just it's great being able to figure out the solutions to the problems and, you know, realize that success. But when you actually see like how this is going to affect your life, your family's life, and your entire lifestyle around you, it's like, holy crap, it's a complete like mind fuck. You know, it's just like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like I would have never thought, you know, being unemployed, broke in a house that was built in like the 1890s with the wall, like the plaster like cracking on the wall, you know, it's just a real old, you know, crap house basically. If you told me then that I'd be like living in the house, driving the car, being able to travel when I want, I would have been like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's not possible for me. Right. But I had to believe it was possible to be able to achieve those results. So hopefully you got some out of that.
No, yeah, absolutely did. It's cool because, you know, I've done quite a few of these, a couple of them now, and it's kind of like the same thing keeps coming up over and over. Like you just pointed out, there has to be clarity of what you want to get it. And it, like you were just pointing out too, it's nice and it's motivating, and it gives you the drive you need when you start thinking of the bigger picture. How is this going to affect my children? How is this going to affect, you know, my life? All these different things, you know, help me, help everybody push past obstacles and hit those goals, no matter what comes up. Because now it's not just about you. You know, we can lie to ourselves very easily and convince ourselves that, oh, you know, well, I really didn't want it anyway. But when it's, you know, something you're doing for a bigger purpose, for me personally, it's, you know, my family, there is no stopping. There is no not reaching that goal. It has to be hit. So yeah, it's cool that you hit on that as well. The next question I'd like to ask is, I know you're an author, you've written, you know, your own stuff, but when you were first getting started and you were still absorbing this information, you know, there's obviously Think and Grow Rich, which is like a staple, but were there any other books that you really resonated with that helped you either take the next step in your business or get your mindset correct to move forward or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely go with the staples of like the Think and Grow Rich, or How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Magic of Thinking Big. Those, but I'm gonna go like, well, I can also say the 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferris was another huge one in terms of like automation and systems and being able to, you know, control your lifestyle using that. But some of the concepts that I don't hear a lot of people talk about when it comes to like what books they read was self-talk. And that's kind of what I was just alluding to, what we were talking about before, is that belief level. And actually I did a quick Facebook Live video on the same concept this morning of like, if you're repeating something in your mind, you're just going to keep programming your mind to believe whatever it is. And the crazy thing is your subconscious mind does not know the difference. So if I say, man, I'm a failure over and over again, cancel clear, by the way, got to like verbalize that, you know, cancel clear on that. You're going to believe that. But if you say, I'm a winner, I'm successful, every goal that I go out there, I go out and I hit that goal and I smash it and I surpass it. And, you know, I deserve all the wealth, resources, and happiness that come towards me. It's like, I'm training my mind to believe in that. And one of the biggest books that I read on that was, first of all, was Cybernetics. Another one was called, I think it was Self-Love. And then another one was called What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. And that was really the first one by Dr. Shad Helmstetter, S-H-A-D. And I'm not going to try and spell Helmstetter.
It's right. I'll put all the books and authors in the description.
Awesome. Yeah. So if there's one staple book that's like out of the norm that most people won't, you know, talk about, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself Dr. Shad Helmstetter by far, because it completely opened my mind up to like, oh my God, like affirmations really are important. And you and I just went to a few different events and where we talked about that. And I actually wrote a bunch of affirmations, and I'm like, man, I got to have these laminated. I got to like record them of me saying them in my phone. And I started listening to them like on the way to the gym, you know, in between podcasts or music or whatever else, you know, so it's like just being consistent with that. Just like I stick to the same nutrition plan, stick to the same workouts and the same schedule. Now I'm like, all right, now I'm getting back into that same mode of, affirmations, motivating myself and programming my mind.
Yeah. So on that topic of, you know, things that you do like a routine, things that you consistently do every day, such as work out, do you want to give us like a little bit of a rundown of the things that you find to be important to do every day to be consistent on that help you be successful?
Yeah, and actually, I just did a video this morning on this. This too is with nutrition. We can only make so many decisions in a day before our brain just gets fatigued. It is what it is. So I eat the same freaking thing for breakfast and lunch every day. Breakfast every morning, 3 eggs, 3 egg whites, 6 eggs basically every single freaking morning. I don't have to think about it. I make it. It's completely routine. Don't have to think about it at all. Completely out of mind, out of my mind decision-making process. Lunch every single day, chicken, rice, and some kind of vegetable, usually broccoli. It's sometimes changed up. So I'll have like Spanish style one day, Thai style the next day, whatever, I do have a little bit of variety in that, but I don't have to think about what I have every day. So taking that out and just sticking with that, it takes 2/3 of my meals out of my decision-making process. So that's one huge thing for me. The other thing in terms of routine, I personally have to work out every day. I'm so high-strung, I have so much energy, and I tend to get frustrated or angry easily if I don't have that physical release. So I need to lift heavy things, to kind of work out some of that stress. And it's great for the mind. It's great for the body. It's great for the mind. It's great for the body as well. So like either way, like I have to be doing some kind of physical activity every single day. So in terms of routine, that's definitely recommended. Goal setting, I'm actually resetting a lot of my routine right now, and I'll get into like a little caveat side note here. If you're setting goals, great. Then nobody talks about like when you hit those goals, like set new ones. I had a year where I literally had on this whiteboard right over here a couple years ago, I smashed my goals. I think we did 400,000 in revenue. I traveled all over the world. I went to London. I went to Fiji, all within like about a 12-month span of time. And like I smashed just all these goals. I got the house I wanted. I got the car I wanted. And it's like awesome. And then I didn't set any more goals. And it was just like, oh, my income went down. Mm-hmm. Well, because we're either in growth mode or we're, basically going backwards. We're either living or we're dying. It's like there's literally no in between. So whatever those goals are, you got to definitely make them realistic and something that's attainable for you. At the same time, if you go and you hit those goals, like for me, like I don't care even to have a house bigger than this. But you know what? I know if I go and I help more people, I serve more people, and I serve the marketplace, and I go and I get bigger results, I'd be able to have a bigger house. So what's my real motivation there? Do I want to do big pictures of the next big thing, the next big house, the next big trip, vacation, whatever? You have to find what motivates you in order to have that carrot that's out there to be able to pull you along to whatever that next step is. A lot of people are figuring out a way to push themselves. It's not a push because push is against your willpower. You need to have something out there, that carrot at the end of the stick, that's going to pull you virtually, magnetically in that direction. And that's how you inspire and that's how you motivate yourself. Yeah. Because ultimately, if you're getting pushed, it's not you taking the steps. You're just tripping as the other person pushes you, And that's that's what I kind of like thought I was like as a boss, And I couldn't do that. I couldn't deal with that authority over me and my time. I wanted to be able to spend my days with the people that I love, doing the things that I love, and impacting people around me. That's where my passion comes from personally.
Awesome, and that's something that's really unique, and I think it's kind of really cool about the community that you and I belong to, the online internet, the digital marketing community, is that so many people's their drive for what they do is to help others, and I think that's it's so awesome to see so many people that are out there really just trying to make a difference and change people's lives. It's, very inspiring. So something that I was going to mention before, but you just brought it up again and it clicked in my mind again. So the second thing I was going to bring up before was about when you first got started and you had to learn things like pretty much writing code, HTML and all that. And now, obviously now when I joined, not even a year ago, it's a very different ball game. Like you were saying, it's literally like a drag, drop and click type of method now. Installing WordPress is a click of one button. Being able to build websites now on sites like Lead Pages is like a drag and drop concept. It's not all this crazy writing. In your opinion, how beneficial and how much easier is it now to get started in this industry now that everything is so automated and so much easier for the user compared to when you first got started?
I'm going to be blunt and say it's definitely a mix. I mean, in terms of like ease of things, it's just like, yeah, like there's so much more software that's available now. There's more mentorship available now than anything. There's more courses that are available. There's more events that you can go to and attend. The amount of resources, just to kind of give you something as an example, not even in the internet marketing space. I've been playing guitar. I don't know if you can see, I got my acoustic guitar sitting back here and all my electrics are upstairs. But playing guitar for 22 years now. And I still I can solo a little bit, man, but like there's like this 12-year-old that I see on YouTube and he's like doing like all this tapping and just all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, I've been playing for almost twice as long as this son of a bitch has been alive. Damn it. I'm like, oh my God, like, man, I stink. And it's like, well, I didn't have YouTube growing up. Yeah. And this kind of goes back to resourcefulness. My teacher stopped showing up to the damn guitar practice. I guess he didn't want the $20 an hour, whatever we were paying him when I was 14 years old. But I had 5 guitar lessons. Everything else I taught myself online through Online Guitar Archive. It's a bunch of tabs. All it does is gives you a number on where to hit the note. So I was literally like, okay, 5th fret, play that or whatever. So it was the resourcefulness of being able to use that. Nowadays, it's like there's so much information available to make money online. Like it boggles my mind how so many people still think that like, nope, the only way to make money is you got to get a job. You got to get an education to go and get a job and get this role. And to me, after I kind of realized that, it's like, well, all those jobs, all those employees work for an employer, the small business owner, who might not even be as educated as them, might not be as smart as them, but because he understands business, how systems and all this stuff works, he can actually have a greater income than the actual person that has the skill set. And it's just like, if we want to be of a greater value to the marketplace, a lot of us look at the task and we say, okay, well, this task is worth more. I want to make more money, so I'm going to be a surgeon, or I'm going to be a dentist or something like that, rather than like, I'm going to be a garbage man. Nothing against garbage mans, but like nobody says like, I can't wait to go be a garbage man and make, this wage, right? So if we're looking at like comparative, okay, the skill set, I want to make more money, I need to learn this particular skill set. And the fact of the matter is, wealthy people aren't paid by time, by the dollar per hour more that they're making. They're paid on profit. And a lot of the times they might, the company will make $5,000 and they can outsource the time that's needed to create that product that was $5,000. They can outsource that time for hundreds of dollars, or even $1,000 or $2,000, and then they can get the $3,000 in profit. You know what I mean? So, and again, margins usually aren't that high. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just giving you an example of like just some of the things where like that's the kind of thing that comes into play in the mindset that's involved.
Right on.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So something that you brought up just now that kind of I want to hit on a little bit more is that what you said was that nowadays online, there's quite an abundance of mentors, live events, courses you can take. In your opinion, how significant is it to have the right mentor and the right training to really move yourself forward at a rapid pace to the success you're looking for?
It's very important. And this ties back into your last question, like how much easier it is. There's lots of tools that make it easier, but at the same time, there can be more competition in these different spaces or whatever. So like, there's always, to me, been this balance, because back in my day, it was just as easy because I was like spamming people on MySpace with like software. Like that's how old I am in the internet marketing game. You're on MySpace, like spamming people. It's just like, this is stupid. I don't understand why this is even working. Like, this is not a sustainable business model. And unfortunately, like, some people just act the same way on Facebook now. It's let me just spam people on Facebook or whatever. And by the way, that was not the right way to build a business. I'm definitely not advocating that. Now, like, at the same time, like, things are so much easier now. The problem is there's so much information. It's very easy to have information overload. And when you don't have a mentor at all, or the wrong mentor, or multiple mentors, this is another mistake a lot of people make, which I can get into in a second. But without a mentor of any kind, you're basically not given any direction. It's like, imagine if I gave you just like, here's a pile of, wood and some metal, now go make train tracks. It's just like, I don't know how to do that. I got all the tools and resources available. I got 8,000 YouTube videos on this topic, but I don't know how to actually do this step by step. And that's really where mentorship comes in, because if you want to get to, from A to Z, you need to basically put down those tracks and make sure the train is headed in the right direction. If you're putting it together wrong, guess what? That train's coming off the tracks. You're going to get to B if you're lucky, much less Z. And the whole thing about multiple mentors that I was alluding to, when like I can have multiple mentors. One of them is an e-commerce guy. He's going to know all sorts of stuff on how to sell t-shirts online and give me all sorts of advice about that. And I'll have another mentor that does affiliate marketing. And I'll have another mentor that does life coaching or something. And it's like, guess what? If you have all these multiple mentors and you're starting from scratch, guess what? That's like trying to create 6 different railroad tracks in 6 different directions, and you'll still end up nowhere. Even if it looks like a perfect track and you've only got one train, you're only going to be able to go on that, one of those tracks anyway. So the one thing I definitely have to stress is the fact that there's a million different ways to make money online and a million ways to go about it. And a lot of you that are watching this, you might have bought books on real estate, marketing, and all this different stuff. It's all of those work. All of them work. What are you most passionate about? And say, you know what? Blinders on, and I'm going to focus on that one thing and just hammer this out with one mentor that's going to help pick me up along the way when I trip and fall, when I get scraped and cut, a little bit. And, sometimes I'll want to quit and crawl up in a ball and cry and, be in self-pity. Man, I need to be able to give that kick to my own ass, and I'll look to a mentor to say, okay, this was a struggle. This was a challenge. How do I overcome this? And like that much quicker, because like, quite honestly, I had a bit of an ego when I got online. Engineering background, super analytical, super smart. Man, I can figure this out. You know what? I did figure it out. But it took me a lot of years longer than it should have. I should have been making millions of dollars per month where I'm in my business right now. So yeah, sure, like it's great to have people to look up to. At the same time, like, again, I'm just being real about myself here, just being totally humble about this. I've had so many people that I've taught, that I've had students come up, and they've far surpassed what I've made online. Like my best year online is just under 400 grand. I have students making 400,000 a month in their business. Why? Their goals were different than my goals. Mm-hmm. Their belief level was different than my belief level, right? So again, like, oh, gut check, right? But here's the thing, like a lot of people, I was down on myself about that kind of stuff. It's like, no, I am totally grateful for where I'm at in life. Like, I can't imagine like going back to me 10 years ago and trying to explain why I'm taking pity on myself for only having $250,000 a year. Shucks, man, this is a shitty year. $250,000. No, that's that's 10 times what I made that year, at Owens Corning in my first half a year online or whatever. Right. So just like keep those things in perspective, find a mentor that can help you stay on that path. And sometimes, like I just said, like you're going to outgrow a mentor. Get a mentor that's, bigger, better, but you have to have a mentor that's in life where you want to be, so you can at least make it to that point. And if you surpass them, great. If they've grown more, you get to keep that mentor and you get to grow together. It's awesome. So I've had lots of mentors over my 10 years online. You have to start somewhere and figure out that one path so you can at least make it a full-time income and grow from there. Because too many people are wasting too much darn time at their jobs that they hate, around people they don't like, doing stuff they don't want to do. Like, get out of that first, and then you can start messing around and getting shiny object syndrome and testing out other business models or whatever. But definitely focus on one thing with one mentor first. Yeah.
Great point. Absolutely great point. I mean, I was just recently reading a book, Barking Up the Wrong Tree. And he does mention that the idea is to eventually have more than one mentor. But I like that little caveat, the way you're putting it, is that if you don't first focus on that one thing and bring that thing, to fruition all the way through, you're going to start having too many things going on and you're never going to truly accomplish the one. So I like the idea of, having that one mentor, accomplishing the goals that you needed to from that mentor, and then diversifying a bit more as you grow, as you become bigger, as you're trying to achieve new things.
It's always great getting advice from people who are in life where you want to be. So I agree to the point of if you need to associate with more mentors and colleagues, so you can feed off each other's positivity and give and receive feedback, that kind of stuff. That's awesome. But yeah, man, like the difference with having one mentor that you're closely working with, that's phenomenal. Definitely way to go.
Cool. So, you've been in the industry quite a long time, decade, a little bit more. So, you have a little bit more insight on the skills and stuff that go into online marketing. So I want to ask you, of the skill sets that are part of online marketing, being a digital marketer, what are one or two that you would absolutely say have been the most beneficial to you in your success?
So in terms of tactical kind of stuff, I think a lot of people stress traffic, generating traffic. And again, just like the mentorship theory, traffic is the same thing. Work on one traffic source. Don't try and get Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and, 8 different things at once. Get some kind of revenue going with, and traffic going with one traffic strategy. And then you can start to diversify as you start getting profit. But if you try and master a bunch of things at once, it's just not going to work. A rabbit that chase multiple rabbits, catch none kind of thing. So definitely don't do that. Traffic is definitely one of the skill sets, though. That's very important. The other thing, and I think the biggest thing that I wish I focused on this a lot more when I was getting started, and this is going to save you watching this right now so much time, so much money, so much energy. You're going to be able to make so much more money as a better return on investment from your marketing dollars, is focusing on copywriting and conversions. Really, it's focusing on the copywriting side of things. I found out that if I even create my own offer and it's an amazing offer, guess what? People that already know how to do traffic will send me their traffic. And I don't have to worry about freaking traffic. Like right now, I've got guys that can send me 100,000 clicks a week if I can afford to pay them for the clicks, obviously. And if I've got a good converting offer, that's no problem, right? And one of the things that I focused on when I was first getting started is I want to get 1 million clicks, because if I can make 20 cents a click on 1 million clicks, that's $200,000. And it's that's not exactly how it works, because if you have a website that sucks, your funnel isn't converting, you're not following up with anybody, it doesn't matter if I send you 10,000 or 10 million clicks, you're still making no freaking money. That's what it comes down to. So people don't realize it's not the steak, it's the sizzle. It's using your words to be able to sell. And too many people put selling in a negative connotation. Guess what? If the cure for cancer is out there and nobody knows about it because nobody was willing to go out there and sell it, guess what? That's not saving any lives, right? So right now, and this is, I don't know if this is a twisted metaphor or what, but basically I want to go out there and share this message of being able to be an entrepreneur, be a freelance marketer, people being able to write their own paycheck and take control of their life and their lifestyle. So in a way, it's it's my cure for the disease that's out there called mediocrity. So I go out there with just as much passion, just as if I was a doctor that had the cure for cancer, right? So if I'm going to be as effective as I can be in my job, in my career, in this career path that I have right here in internet marketing, is I need to go out there with the same passion and learn how to influence people. Whether you call it copywriting or salesmanship or whatever it is, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But ultimately, if you're not going to be a person of influence, you're not going to be able to get the results that you want to get. It doesn't matter whether you're selling information products or T-shirts or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You need to have some kind of salesmanship, realize that people buy because of what's in it for them, not what's in it for you, and that kind of thing. So definitely learning copywriting, conversions, and salesmanship. If I can kind of lump all that into one category, that's by far the biggest skill set that I recommend people dive into in the training. Conversion Academy.
So obviously with the exception of Conversion Academy, which, I use to write all of my ads. Like the information in there is what I use to create the ads I have running online right now that are making me the income I have. With the exception of that, what other trainings or books have you come across the years that have been really beneficial to you honing in the art of copywriting?
So Hypnotic Writing by Joe Vitale is definitely one, and probably one of the better ones. Ultimate Sales Letter. I mean, there's a handful of books. Here's the thing, is I realized how important copywriting was, and I actually even used to write books. Like when I was younger, I wrote like a story about a dog and his the boy owner, and like all this stuff that like it was really interesting to me as a kid. But I realized with my analytical personality, very task oriented, storytelling for me was not a strong suit. So I outsourced the shit out of copywriting. I find people that are really good at it, and I've hired probably 5 copywriters easily in the last probably year and a half, and I've had a full-time copywriter on staff for 2.5 years, basically 2 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah. So I outsource the heck out of that. So that's if there's a lesson in that, it's know your strengths. You have to learn and definitely get to a point of comprehension with all the topics as a business owner. But realizing what your strengths are and then outsourcing the rest is probably one of the bigger lessons as well that I definitely want everybody to understand on this call.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up, because that's something that was just recently brought to my attention in the last couple of months, that in order to grow any bigger and really start impacting as many lives as I want to, I can't do that alone. It's not enough hours in the day. I wouldn't be able to balance my life the way I want to with family and work. So the outsourcing, having the, virtual assistant, personal assistant, whatever it may be, to handle some of the things that I'm not so good at and start focusing on the things I really am. It's been huge. It's something that I just recently started doing research on and starting to look into myself. So it's crazy to hear someone else who's, kind of a veteran of the industry here and has been doing really well for a long time to also bring it up. It's definitely reassuring that I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
So I know that when you linked up with AWOL, you already had, quite a career online, but what I would like to ask you is what drew you to AWOL? I know for me personally, watching that Kiala video, I could just tell from just listening to him and his mannerisms that this was a genuine guy who really wanted to change the world for the better and had a system that he believed in that could do that. And, so many of us are living proof that system really does work. But since you were kind of more working behind the scenes with AWOL, since you already had a career, I kind of just curious, what drew you to them?
Oh, tons of stuff. But I'll start with the fact that I knew Kiala since about 2011. I won't tell the story about the night we met, because there was a point at the end of that night where I was not conscious and it was somewhat embarrassing for me. So I'll leave that part of the story out. But I had the opportunity. I made a great first impression as I was like passed out on the floor, with Kiala. But really though, like we stayed in touch. He kind of came into some dinners locally here in the Phoenix area, and I was kind of invited, and I got to kind of reconnect with him a couple of times through colleagues. And every time I gave him advice, he was like, damn, that's really good info. Like, I had this major problem and you solved it in 20 seconds. Like, awesome, whatever. So that kind of like opened up a conversation with me and Kiala. And I had known Cam for even longer, actually. But the interesting thing about what happened was I had actually been in the information products, especially like the business opportunity space or the internet marketing training space or make money online. People have different names for the industry or whatever. And quite honestly, a lot of the other stuff that out there was not very appealing to me, where one of the reasons why I got into my agency is I didn't want to deal with the customer service issues, the merchant processing issues. I didn't want to deal with all the headaches that kind of come along with the industry. Again, just being blunt and putting that out there. So when I saw what Kiala and Cam had put together with AWOL Academy, I realized that like these guys not only are like, they're legit, they know exactly what they're talking about, they're also serving the customer from a point of value, where a lot of the other businesses out there were like, oh, we're going to teach you marketing. but only if you sell our stuff. You know what I mean? And again, especially working behind the scenes at AWOL Academy, AWOL Academy's got over like 50,000 customers. We've had less than 1,000 affiliates. So this isn't something where it's like, all right, you need to get in and buy in at this level to earn commissions on stuff, and you're only going to sell our stuff. It's like, no, AWOL, first above everything else, is we're giving people value, and people that decide to promote us, it's like a bonus. You know what I mean? It's like they're not forced into doing it. They're doing it because they love our community. They love the value that they're getting. They love, you know, everything they're receiving from us. So they want to go out there and share it. So that's definitely like first and foremost one of the things that I saw that's like, it's the complete opposite. It's almost like, you know, their other companies are holding a gun to their, you know, to their students' heads, like, no, you have to be in our affiliate. We're gonna teach you marketing, but only how to market us. AWOL is not like that, you know? So what AWOL does is we teach both skill sets and mindset. So on the skill set side, you're learning everything from traffic, copywriting, conversion, and all of that. But one of the biggest like unique selling propositions for AWOL, one of the unique things about AWOL is they understand that it's not just the skill set, it's mindset. And they've got a 17-year veteran of the personal development industry, somebody that's been putting on events. His name's Todd Campbell. He's been doing events and facilitating and coaching for a long time. And he's got a lot of experience in it. And it's really what I like to think of as the best of the best training, because I've been to a lot of personal development stuff. It's by far, bar none, the best stuff that I've been through. And the biggest thing that drew me to AWOL above everything else that I just said is the fact that they were the perfect entity to couple both the skill set and mindset. Because when you've got the skill set, you're going to do the tasks without the right mindset and stumble and set up your, you know, roadblocks in front of yourself and trip and fall and, squash the results that you're getting. But with the combination, again, and I should do the opposite, is all the mindset with no skill set. Man, I'm really excited about what? I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? You know, so to couple the mindset and understand like how to overcome your challenges quicker, guess what? You know, like it's the marriage of both of those things that make life and business so much easier. And one thing I will say about AWOL Academy is I, again, did a video recently on this too. AWOL Academy has not only changed my business, I have had much better communication with my wife. My marriage is better because attending the personal development events. I can say that the last 2.5 years, I didn't speak to my dad. We just weren't on speaking terms. I didn't really want him in my life, and he didn't really want me in his life. You know, we just weren't really talking. My dad and I now, since the last event that we went to, we've actually been communicating via text and via email, and it's actually constructive, productive conversations. It's not like, let's play blame game or victim or pointing at it, at each other. It's actually constructive conversation. And, I mean, I can go on in terms of benefits. So if there's anything that you get out of this, don't just join AWOL, get to the events, shake hands with the people, realize that this is a real opportunity, real people that actually care about each other, support each other, love each other. It's a real, I say the word community, but Chris and I will tell you, we're like family now, you know? It is like family. So if there's anything that I can definitely urge you that's watching this right now to do, is just get started in the AWOL Academy. And once you get in the back office and you start communicating with everybody in the Facebook groups and everything, you realize like this is real and this opportunity is available to me right now and I can do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to elaborate on it, but I don't think I need to. That was just perfectly said. So we see what can we do. I usually ask more specific questions on what it is that drew you to the online space, but we already kind of know because of your veteran status here a little bit more about that.
Well, the one thing I can say is when I was back in college, I sold Cutco, which is like vector marketing. So Cutco knives, so I'm cold calling people. And that was my first sense of a 100% commission sales job where I realized I'm like, man, I can make like $300 an hour selling these knives, or like $200 an hour selling knives. I can't make that at another job. But I wasn't being productive, so I was kind of like in 6 months I maybe made like $2,000 or $3,000, and I was kind of like, I'm over this. And it was a part-time college thing, but I kind of got that little seed planted in my brain of like, I can make more money and write my own paycheck and have a little more control over my schedule. Like I just had a hint of that in my brain in those 6 months. And then when somebody introduced me to like the network marketing industry, my senior year in college, I literally signed up for my first network marketing company on my birthday as I turned 22 that particular year, 2003, my senior year in college. And it was like, man, like I was in that business like 4 or 5 years basically, and I made hardly any money, but I knew how far I was willing to go to have success and how far I was willing to push myself, to the point where like our team was based in Long Island, New York, and I was upstate New York. Every 2 weeks, I'd literally drive 3.5 hours on a Thursday night. It's like 3 hours on a Thursday night. We'd carpool, so there's a group of like 4 or 5 of us in a car, drive down, attend the meeting. We'd even go to the diner because we were that hungry to be around the leaders, develop that mindset, be around that positivity, because that's just such a rare instance. It's most people, their friends are like, that's not possible for you. Your dreams are what? You'll never be able to get that. It's all negative. So to be around that positivity was priceless to me and the friends that I went down there with. So that we'd hang out at the diner until like 2:00 in the morning, drive home, get back up to Albany, New York at 5 a.m. And like I said, that was Thursday night. I'd be waking up an hour and a half later to go to work Friday morning like a freaking zombie. And I'm just like, oh my God, I got maybe an hour and a half of sleep. I am like so exhausted. And I can't tell you I think I spent more on speeding tickets to and from than I actually made in the business, during that last year or so. But I knew how far I was, the price I was willing to pay, how far I was willing to push myself to realize my dreams. And I see people now, they're like, well, I don't have time to watch videos online. And I want to be like, motherfucker, like, God, like, I just want to like take him and shake, just grab their shoulders and like, are you kidding me? Like, do you realize that you can become a millionaire online? Do you realize that your children are going to have like this amazing future that you wouldn't have possibly even imagined, previously? Like, there's so much opportunity out there and there's so much available to you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're going to give up by like this much, like this little trip, this little struggle, it's like, no, like you got to be willing to push yourself, because I can tell you, especially after doing this for 10 years, like every little thing that I overcame was completely worth it. Being able to watch my son take his first steps instead of getting a phone call from somebody at the daycare, like, oh, hey, your son walked today. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for the update. As I'm there sitting in the cubicle at my job. Like, you don't know the memories that you're going to create 5 years from now because of the actions that you take today. So, like, just to be on that path, it's just like I'm firing myself up again, just as fired up as I was, whatever I said, was that 2003 or 2000? I think it was like 2000. Yeah, 2003 or whatever it was when I first got started really in the home business industry, or whatever you want to call it. And 15 years ago. So I've been online 10 years, but the journey really started like 15 years ago when I was just like, I don't want to be an engineer. I'm drawing a line in the sand, and I just got myself into a bunch of college debt. And here I am working at Radio Shack in the mall. I have to make my business work because I've burned all bridges. There's no way anybody is going to like get me an engineering job now that I've been out of college for a year, working at the mall, or whatever, or these random sales jobs. And because I realized that those jobs weren't my future. They were a temporary solution, and that my career was going to be online, because after I found out that this was real, and that seeing, all people from all backgrounds, all education levels, all ages, you name it, are finding success with this. They're creating the success in their lives. I'm like, well, they can do it. I can do it. I can't, what am I going to quit to? Like, I quit. All right, what am I going to do with my life? Well, shit. Nothing's as good as this, so crap, So it was like, man, I have to do this because I don't want to regret not doing it, Yeah. So like, if there's any like origin story, that was really the origin story. And I got online because I was in network marketing and I didn't have any leads. And I was like, man, there's got to be a way to find leads. And this punk, snot-nosed, freaking cocky kid named Jonathan was doing these videos. He had this capture page, and it was a video of him, and he's just like, I'm Mr. Jonathan. I won't say his last name. But he goes, and last month I made 12.2, and I sat up in my chair, eyes bug, and he goes, $1,000. I'm like, who the hell says 12? I made $12,200 last month. But I'm like, this kid's, he's like 21, 22 years old. What the hell? Like, he's going to make a 6-figure income this year? Well, the crazy thing was I followed that guy, and that was my first, like, breath of fresh air into generating leads online, automating my income, being able to make money while I sleep and all of that. And that kid went on to make something like 14 or $15 million by the age 25.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's just like, man, I'm glad I followed him, you know, and I'm glad that Kayal is here. I'm glad that Chris Celeste is here so that we can just keep, you know, bringing that next generation of internet marketer and freedom, you know, to the masses. That's what it's all about.
Agreed. Yeah. Try to free as many people and set them, you know, on a path that they deem like to write their own ticket, to really have the life they always wanted to have, to make dreams a reality. These are things that everyone in this community, you, myself, you know, Kiala, everyone, that they were just trying to share with the world that this is so possible for anybody, and just takes a little bit of faith and belief, like you were saying earlier. You know, if you believe it'll happen, it will. And there's so many examples of people who are doing it. So it's just, you know, there's no reason not to.
Yeah. And the crazy thing, guys, a lot of people take like, oh, it's about the money out of this. I can tell you as a fact, coming from me, and I know Kayala would agree, I'm sure Chris, you'll agree with this, is even if like people look at like this as like, oh, they're trying to get me to buy something so they can make money. I can tell you that I get more out of somebody saying, hey, Adam, I bought your products. I didn't make money with this, but I actually had a better relationship with my spouse. Or I learned something through your training videos and a story that you said that actually allowed me to start a conversation with my son, and it helped me be a better father. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no monetary, like, anything with that. You know what I mean? It could have been a free video like this. It could have been whatever, but it's the impacting people's lives. Like, the money is just a result of impacting people's lives. And even if I didn't make a dime from what I do, it'd be still just as exciting, because I've got success stories, and Chris is now getting success stories of students where, like, one of my success stories, she was a stay-at-home mom of 3 girls, and her husband honestly was not that good to her. Well, she made a 6-figure income, and through everything that she did, started to gain the confidence where over a certain number of years, she was actually able to leave that abusive relationship. And now she's having the freaking time of her life. She just did a post today. I think she said she was talking about she's going to travel to Iceland and look at the Northern Lights.
Awesome. It's
just like, she would not have been able to do that if she was trapped in the prison of her marriage at the time, you know, whatever. And again, I'm not saying like my whole mission is to like everybody divorce, you know, like, no, that's not what I'm saying. You know, I'm saying like freedom, empowerment. These aren't just words that we're throwing out there like, oh, how can I motivate people today? Let me flip through the dictionary of positivity. All right, guys, empowerment and creativity. Are you motivated today? No. This is actual real stuff that, like, it's not just words that we say. This is real lives that get affected. And like, I have a guy that was construction management, completely unrelated to internet marketing, gave him some concepts. He had made, I think, $50,000 the previous year. Next year, he made $250,000.
Damn.
Just from learning a couple like little things about mindset and how to apply it to his own business, his own consultation or consultant business, basically. So it was just like, man, like he 5x'd his income. It's like, that's pretty good. It had nothing to do really with internet marketing. It was construction management, you know? So like the ripple that we have here that comes out of the little drop that we put in is just phenomenal. It's amazing. It's life-changing. And that's what motivates me on a daily basis. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go make an extra 6 figures this year or something like that. The numbers are just numbers. And like, again, not to be morbid or anything, but like we see what goes on in Hollywood with the celebrities and the divorce rate and the suicides and all this crazy shit. It's not money, guys. It's not having the fancy car and the big house and, you know, butler and all that kind of stuff. Now, mind you, all that stuff sounds really great, but it's really what's in here and what's in here that is more wealth than you can imagine. And that's really what it comes down to. Is it's not about the money, it's here and here.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I think Kiala says it best, and it's something that I constantly think about, is that, you know, he always says that he's never received any amount of money, whatever it was, a paycheck, that has brought tears to his eyes. But when he hears success stories about people's lives he's impacted, he gets, you know, those tears of joy, those tears of inspiration. He can't help but feel that's where he gets his true feeling of fulfillment, that true, rush of what this is all about. It's not, however big the paycheck is, it's the people's lives that he's able to change, impact, make better, and the stories he gets to hear from that. And like you were alluding to earlier, you have, the same thing in your life. I'm just starting to have that now in mine. And it really is an amazing thing to bond with somebody, connect with somebody, hear about what's going on with them, some of the pains they're experiencing, how they're trying to move away from them, and then give them just a little bit of a skill, a little bit of mindset to just move through it, and then have them come back to you and tell you that they were able to do something with that and actually take what you talked to them about, what you taught them, and use that to completely change their lives. It's worth more than any dollar, any day of the week, and I completely agree with you, hands down. So we're getting close to the top of the hour. We got about 5 more minutes. So what I'd like to ask you now is kind of like a closing question. For anybody who's on the fence about getting started or is just getting started in this industry, what would be like the main impactful thing that you would say to them in each category from that you feel would be the most beneficial to them, whether they're just on the fence or they're just getting started?
If you're on the fence, that's the most painful place to be, because if you're on the fence and you slip, like it's like literally like that's the best metaphor. Like the interesting thing about the most successful entrepreneurs is they don't analyze forever. They are very decisive in their decisions. They use their intuition, and they say, my gut's telling me, my intuition is telling me we should go this route. And you know what? If it's the wrong route, they find that negative result quicker, and then they change directories. They pivot and they change that path, right? So if you're just getting started, don't be afraid to fuck up. Like, go make mistakes, because the quicker you make those mistakes, the quicker you can correct things. And like, don't quit. That's also like number 1, number 2 thing. Don't quit, and then fail forward. Like, make those mistakes, realize what you did wrong, and sometimes you're not going to know what you did wrong. That's why having a mentor comes in. That's why that's one of the questions that Chris has on here. It's like you need to piggyback off of other people's experiences and results, so you can go and you can get your own. So those are some of the biggest things. I also went into like being resourceful and everything. And especially like if you're on the fence or just getting started, I can't imagine what my life would be like if I didn't go and make that decision. If I didn't put myself through some of that struggle. And honestly, guys, like so much comes back to mindset and the people you associate with. You won't know how much of an impact this is going to have on your life, your relationships. Again, it could be your income. It could just be your happiness level. It could be so many different things. You won't know what the impact of this is going to be in your life unless you take that first step. So I'm just going to urge you to take that first step, just so you can see like what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I've got so many projects that I have going on right now. They could all be successful. They could all be failures, but you know what? I'm going to have fun with all of them. It's going to be a learning experience, whether they're successful or failure. And guess what? You're going to learn more typically from your failures than you are from your successes. You know what I mean? So it's like everything is an adventure. Start your real true adventure. Start, dealing with entrepreneurship. Start writing your own paycheck. Start designing your own lifestyle on a daily basis, starting today, because it's an adventure, man. It's fun. It's exciting. And just, keep in mind that this community is here for you.
Awesome. So, Adam, I'd like to take a moment and just thank you again so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be on this interview with me and share and give back a bit. I know, like you were saying, you have lots of projects going on, a whole family, children, all this. So I understand that, time is very valuable, and I really do appreciate you taking that time to do this with me. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. Anytime that I have to help you out or, definitely motivate this amazing community, I'm all in.
Appreciate it. And vice versa, man. Only, just shoot me a quick message, and anything I can do, I'll also do it for you, and help change lives and make this community even bigger and help more people.
Absolutely, man. Hashtag bromance.
Hashtag bromance. All right. So just a little bit of closing up here. So if you found value in this, if you liked what we talked about, please hit the like button. I'd like to hear from you in the comments. What was your biggest takeaway from this interview with Adam and myself? What was the one thing you found most impactful, or the one thing that you're going to start implementing into your life or business that you feel is going to be most beneficial to you? Please just comment that into the comments. It helps me in future interviews to know which questions are having the best impact. Kind of help me tweak and give you the most value and the knowledge you're looking for. And as always, to watch the episodes as they drop, hit that subscribe button. And thank you all for taking the time out of your day to be with us here for this interview. And I will talk to you here soon. Peace.